In ancient times, 50 years before the birth of Christ, an Abyssinian princess named Nua escaped an arranged marriage using a pair of enchanted earrings by swapping bodies with a slave girl. When each person wears the earring, their bodies are magically switched with each other, while their minds remain in the same place. Presently, in a modern-day suburban home, Jessica Spencer is a young, mean cheerleader. She is one of the hot rich girls in high school. She is also a cheerleader for her high school basketball team along with her friends. Friends are April, Keisha, and Lulu. April is Jessica's best friend. One day in school, April plays a bad joke on an overweight member of her cheerleader Hildenberg. She tells her to dress in their rival's cheerleading uniform and dance, which causes Hildenberg to be embarrassed in front of the whole school. That same day, she makes fun of a Wiccan girl by implying she is a witch, which causes the girl to curse her in some unknown language. Then Jessica, using her influence as a cheerleader, sweet-talks the school principal into writing a pass for her. Please subscribe her friends. They use this opportunity to skip class and go shopping at a mall. She works her charm on a boy who sells ice cream and gets free ice cream for herself and her girls. While enjoying themselves, they were met by a rival cheerleader, Bianca. After they exchange some jokes, Jessica slips a piece of underwear in her purse, which causes Bianca to be tackled by security. Just as they were about to leave the mall, Jessica had her eyes set on an African-themed souvenir shop. She goes into the shop with her friends. They see different artifacts and enjoy their time. While the owner was arranging some of her materials, Jessica stumbles up on a box which contains the enchanted earrings. After opening the box, she is fascinated by their beauty and asks their price. The owner refuses to sell to her, stating that the earrings have true artistic value, but Jessica steals the earrings and replaces them with fake ones. Shortly afterward, a small-time criminal named Clive Maxstone robs a gas station. At the same time, Jessica and her friends arrive at the gas station. They repeatedly ring the bell, looking for the attendant. Clive, who has already kidnapped the attendant, gets out and takes his spot. He connects the gas pump hose to the tanks and tries to leave quietly, but Jessica insists on other services, pointing out a sign promising full service has been posted. Jessica makes fun of him repeatedly and leaves the gas station, but she has accidentally dropped one of the earrings, which Clive picks up before he leaves. Jessica arrives home and deals with her annoying little brother who frustrates her. Then at night, she sneaks away to meet her boyfriend, Billy. He tries to take her snowboarding, but she refuses. After telling him his true reason for inviting her to the trip is to sleep with her, she tells him that she will not sleep with him until the time is right, and they depart. She goes to bed wearing one of the earrings, which she put on at the gas station, and coincidentally, Billy does the same thing. In the morning, Jessica discovers that she now has the body of a man while she goes to her toilet. She freaks out more. She sees what she looks like in the mirror. She tries to call her best friend, but she doesn't answer, so she goes out the window, takes her father's suit, and carefully goes out of the house. On the other hand, Clive has a similar experience as Jessica when he goes to the toilet. Jessica, who has arrived at school, calls April and tells her to come and meet her at the school field. April struggles to identify the voice behind the call, but agrees with her request after assuming Jessica has a really bad cold. At first, April freaked out when she saw a creepy guy talking to her. She quickly paper sprays Jessica, who falls down a couple of stairs. Just as April was about to leave the field, Jessica reminded her about a memory from 2nd grade. After a few conversations, Jessica manages to convince April that it is really her. April hugs her and gives her a key to her home, promising to help her figure things out. At April's home, Jessica is having trouble dealing with having the body of a man. Since she has a cheering competition and school prom coming up, she quickly tries to get rid of hair on different parts of the man's face. April, on the other hand, buys time for her friend after telling her parents that Jessica has gone on a skiing trip with Billy. Jessica and April spend the rest of the day talking with curiosity about having a man's body parts. The next day, Jessica and April meet the rest of their friends. They find out what happened, and they have some fun seeing Jessica's private part. After everyone has had their share of fun, they try to find out what caused this thing. Her friends have a long line of suspects after thinking of people who hate her for humiliating them. In public, this conversation turns into a funny pillow fight, which ends up with all of Jessica's friends knocked out because now Jessica has a man's arm strength. Next morning, Jessica wakes up to discover her first boner, which makes April laugh. Jessica's day got even weirder after she went home to take her car. She meets her dad, who mistakes her for the gardener. She spends the day cutting grass and ends up having awkward conversations with her dad about her mom, which makes her really uncomfortable. She even sees her little brother playing with her stuff. but she can't do anything about it. After a long day working as a gardener, her friends pick her up. They tell her they have some suspects. They spoke to her while she was performing a chemical experiment at school. Jessica apologizes to her for what did to her, but Hildenberg denies having anything to do with it, and even expresses that it is not scientifically possible. Next, they visit a second suspect, Eden, a girl suspected of having ties with witchcraft. She admits to having tried to put different spells on Jessica, but denies doing this to Jessica. Eden suggests the spell might be linked to Santeria, a Latin-based witchcraft. When Eden suggests the true practitioners have a scorpion tattoo, Jessica and her friends suspect Bianca, a rival cheerleader. But to give Jessica a chance to have a moment with Bianca, April and her friends groom Jessica to try and change her looks to a hot guy. Jessica learns the hard truth about the men's world when she tries to charm an ice cream seller to avoid paying. Like she did before, her act causes the man to grab her by her neck and force her to pay. Jessica, Hildenberg, Eden, April, Kika, and Lulu arrive at a dance club to look for Bianca. Jessica starts to act strange and even has a weird moment with the club's bartender, who caught her when she was talking about hitting on a guy. After a while, Jessica and her friends spot Bianca. Jessica uses the opportunity to dance, with her using some of her moves. She discovers that Jessica is not the one, after seeing she doesn't have any tattoos on her back. Then Jessica had to use the men's bathroom. She has some difficulty urinating while standing, but gets the job done, with the help of a bathroom attendant whom she had an awkward moment with. Jessica stands up for Eden by confronting a guy who hit on her without her consent, which leads to a fight that Jessica ends up winning. At school, Jessica comforts April, who finds out that her boyfriend, Jake, has been cheating on her after seeing a rash on his neck. In order to stay in school, she takes the name Spencer and gets hired as a janitor in the school. After convincing the school principal, she spies on her boyfriend in the men's bathroom and begins to explain what happened to her, but she ends up freaking him out, and he runs away from her. Back at her home, she continues her role as a gardener, which she is terrible at, but she ends up bonding with her dad over a basketball game. She gives her dad some good advice, which helps her parents rekindle their romance. On the other hand, Eden discovers the earrings. While she is searching on the internet, Jessica and her friends visit the souvenir shop owner to ask about the earrings. The owner describes to them how the earrings work. She describes the sad ending of the Abyssinian princess, who ended up staying in the slave girl's body for the rest of her life because she didn't bring back both earrings to reverse the switch. As a result, the owner tells them to find the other earring before the full moon ends. April and her friends print the pictures of the earrings and post them all over the school to help their friend. Meanwhile, Jessica spies on Billy and Jake while cleaning the men's shower. She discovers that April's boyfriend is taking some other girl to the prom, and Billy, whom she thought only wanted her for sex, is truly in love with her. Meanwhile, there is a police alert out for Clive, who is wanted for robbery and kidnapping. He meets Billy, who sees the body of Jessica on the road. Then he drives away after taking Billy's money and car. This leaves him very confused. At home, Jessica's brother, Booger, covers for her at home. Although he senses something is wrong with his sister, Jessica is at home with April. They couldn't find the earrings, and it is getting stressful for her since the dates for prom and the cheerleading competitions are approaching faster. While she is passing through this crisis, Jessica supports April and agrees to go with her to the prom and make her boyfriend jealous. On the day of the cheerleading competition, the principal and Billy are asking the whereabouts of Jessica. She appears in a costume of a bee and joins her fellow cheerleaders. They present their dance, but while they were doing their last stunt, the costume accidentally came off Jessica's head, and everyone saw it was the school janitor. However, despite this incident, Jessica and her friends win the competition, but Jessica is heartbroken after she sees Billy leaving the place with Bianca. Meanwhile, while Hildenberg is watching the news, she discovers that Clive has been using Jessica's body to lure men into a dark alley to rob and assault them. She immediately calls April to tell her what she saw, which shocks April's mom, who heard the whole thing from an answering machine. Back at Jessica's home, Booger confirms his suspicion and discovers the identity of Jessica after he hears her cry in her room dressed in a red dress. He hugs her, and she thanks him for not telling anyone. On prom night, Jessica and April arrive as a couple while Hildenberg goes to an alley to try and find Clive. April is attracted to Jessica, and she confesses her feelings to Jessica after kissing her, while April's boyfriend arrives with another girl. But Jessica tells April that she is in love with Billy and she will find someone in the future. Then Jessica goes after Billy, who arrives at the prom with Bianca. Jessica believes Billy will accept her, even if she stays in Clive's body forever. She confronts Billy and manages to convince him that it is really her. But Billy couldn't accept seeing her in a man's body and left freaking out about what he just heard. Hildenberg and Eden have found the identity and location of Clive. While Eden tries to find Jessica, Hildenberg distracts two cops and the school's principal, who has discovered the police alert out on Clive. Jessica and her friends track Clive to a strip club, where as a pole dancer using Jessica's body, they confront him immediately. Initially, Clive refuses to give up the body and keeps dancing, but Jessica cleverly steals the other earring from him. April says her final goodbye to Spencer, and Jessica wears both earrings. Jessica gets her body back, so does Clive, and she celebrates with all of her friends. Finally, Jessica gets back with Billy, and Clive gets arrested, and the movie ends with the graduation of Jessica and friends, while Billy, who escaped police custody dressed in lingerie and handcuffs, is picked up by a bartender who is gay. The bartender turns around slowly with a sinister smile on his face to look at Clive and locks his car's doors. Clive screams at the top of his lungs, while the bartender drives away.